This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble. We go until midnight tonight from the East Coast of the United States, from Harlem in New York. Yes, hello everybody. Hey, it's a Wednesday, and we go for our 3-day marathon here of doing new programs. You know, we do 4 shows a week. The other one that we do is on Mondays at 4 o'clock Eastern, and it's on Facebook. It's not here on YouTube, where a lot of you are watching us right now. But as with our first day of the week usually that we're on, which is Wednesday, we go to an old friend. We bring an old friend onto the program, and here we go with him. As soon as I see him, his little picture in here, we'll let's see here. Okay, there we go. He's there in let's see here, in Versailles. There he is, folks. Yeah. Right there.
The Hall of Mirrors.
The Hall of Mirrors, right? Yeah, that makes you look. You would like that because Trump would. That's the way Trump would do his home.
Exactly. Matter of fact, if Trump had his way, he'd turn this into a hotel, and he'd live in this section of the palace.
Yeah, but he can't afford it, so he can't afford anything. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we'll see. He's he may be president again. Hey, before we get into discussion,
I don't think he's going to be president. But anyway,
I don't either. But before we get into that discussion, I just want to offer my condolences on your friend Gilbert Godfrey. I watched the video that you posted of the interview with him on the Great American Broadcast, and it was an excellent interview.
There's also an audio up as well on our on-demand of a interview that I did with him at Sirius XM. So,
yeah. Do you know what the ailment was?
It was supposedly. It's hard to explain, but it was a tachycardia, rhythmic tachycardia or something, caused by a form of muscular dystrophy. It's a arterial dystrophy or something like that.
Yeah.
And that he's had it for quite a while. He's had a bum ticker for a while.
Yeah. I noticed during the interview that he did with you in the studio that you took right after Sirius for the Great American Broadcast. Was it a hot studio? Were the lights very hot? Because you weren't sweating.
No,
but
they weren't.
He was profusely.
Really, it wasn't hot at all.
Yeah, he looked like he was just walked out of a Schritz.
Well, he may have come in from outdoors, and I can't remember what date that was done on, but it might have been a hot day outside.
Yeah,
and then when
he said he was thirsty, but he was sweaty, and he didn't look that good.
He never ever looked that good, So it was to begin with. He didn't die on Monday, as most people think. From what I understand, he was buried on Saturday.
So that would have meant that he died on Thursday?
Maybe on Thursday or Friday, because Jews like to bury their dead within 24 hours, although they don't usually do it on a Saturday. But somebody said they read that he was actually buried by a priest in a Jewish cemetery. It's I don't know. We haven't gotten all the information yet.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to, who cares? He's dead,
Yeah.
And it was, I think, it was a shock to me. I didn't know the man was even ill. I hadn't seen our contact with each other, Gilbert and mine, was once a year at our friend Mark Garland's home, when he used to have a little New Year's get-together, either on New Year's Eve or a couple of days before.
Yeah.
and he'd always show up, and then he and I would just go over into a corner and talk all night with each other.
Well,
because he enjoyed me and I enjoyed him.
The interview seemed like two good friends getting together. You were very comfortable, and so was he. And I haven't seen other interviews with him, but I would imagine he doesn't get interviewed like that very often.
Well, I didn't interview him that often. Okay, to be honest with you. I mean, basically, he was Howard's slut. He would come in to do Howard's show.
Okay.
And he and Howard had a long relationship. But the funny part about it was that our relationship was more social over the last couple of years than it was on the air. And I mean, I looked forward to these parties every year because I knew Gilbert would be there. And I knew that we could talk to each other and spend hours actually talking to each other. And just a sweet, decent guy. And, and his wife, Dara, was also a wonderful person. I mean, she turned his life around. When I first met Gilbert was in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever saw him was years before that at Catch a Rising Star. But then I saw him, he came to San Francisco on occasion, and I'd have him on the show. And I got to know him doing that. In fact, we did a show at the, what's the opera house in San Francisco? Not the War Memorial Opera House. Anyway, we did a show in the Civic Center for some kind of, I can't even remember it was for some...
The Marines Opera House?
I don't know. I can't remember now.
California?
But it was a show, and it was to raise money. It was a fundraiser. And at that point, we got to really know each other because we're sitting backstage, and we're talking to each other, blah, blah, blah. Then we over the years, he would do my show in San Francisco. And then I got to know him when I came back to New York through a couple of friends that would do things socially, and I would be there with them socially. And that's Penn Jillette, and also this friend, Mark Garland, who had one time been Penn and Teller's stage manager. And one of the most...
Mark Garland, that's not the guy that played the agent.
No, that's Jeff Garland.
Jeff Garland, okay.
No. Mark Garland is a very talented guy, and he does a lot of television work. He's a assistant director. When you see assistant director, he usually is his job has always been the assistant director. Anyway, so but one of the greatest moments comedically in my life that I've ever had is that one afternoon we were invited to, and I'm trying to remember the name of the hotel. It's a famous hotel here. Huh?
Ritz?
No,
Ritz?
No, not there isn't a Ritz in New York.
No, there's, is it Four Seasons?
No. I'm trying to remember it. I've been trying to remember it all day, and I couldn't. But
What's the one on the park that Trump owned?
No, this is nothing that Trump owned. He still doesn't. It's still there, and they have high tea every day at about 4:00. So Penn Jillette said, "Let's all go have high tea." So we all head over to have high tea, and Gilbert is there, and we're sitting around this very fancy, ornate tea room in the hotel. And they start bringing us all the stuff they do for high tea, all the different teas and the cookies, then the little.
Yeah, I had a high tea in London.
I
can't remember the name of the hotel.
But anyway,
the Dorchester.
The Dorchester. I stayed there. I stayed there when I was.
Yeah, they got those really high beds with the bedpan warmers under them.
Yeah, but I stayed there years ago when I stayed there when I went over for the Paul is Dead deal. That was the hotel I stayed at, the Dorchester. No, wait a minute.
Yes.
Was it it was the Dorchester.
Dorchester was a nice hotel.
Yeah, or maybe it was the Dorchester I stayed at when I was at the U.S. Embassy riots. I can't remember. Well, anyway,
Yeah,
back to the story. So we're all sitting there doing high tea with the little, cookies and tea and the whole thing. And all of a sudden, Penn and Gilbert decide to start having a contest between each other as to who can tell the dirtiest joke. And for a solid hour and a half, these guys went back and forth with each other, telling some of the most filthy jokes you've ever heard in your life.
At high tea.
And we're there in this very fancy hotel, in this very ornate tea room, having high tea. And
did people overhear you?
there weren't very many people in the room, but some of them were listening, and they were getting a good kick out of it. Nobody was asking them to stop.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was really filthy stuff. I mean, no, the aristocrats joke didn't come up, but Penn Jillette told his bear joke, which is kind of another one of those opus joke telling stories, goes on and on about filthy things. And it was the most hilarious hour and a half I've ever spent anywhere. And I remember that distinctly. And I can't tell you how brilliant I always found Gilbert Godfrey. And he was just a very, very funny guy.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he met this woman. He had been living, how can I say how he lived? He just, he had an apartment, and it was like, have you ever seen Hoarders?
Yeah.
His place, suppose I hadn't seen it, but he kind of lived that kind of lifestyle. And everybody figured, hey, here's Gilbert. He's 50 years old almost. We don't ever say he's going to get married, Meanwhile, into our crowd, like on movie night, comes this woman named Dara Kravitz. And Dara is a woman that every guy in the room lusted after, because she was, not because she was sexy, but because she was sexy by virtue of how smart and sharp and keen she was. And everybody wanted to date her. And somehow, the guy she started dating, the guy she wanted to date, was Gilbert. And this was in what?
Was Gilbert Gottfried always in character, or did he have moments where...
No. When he wasn't on stage, he was Gilbert Gottfried the person, But he was still a strange human being, okay? Hoarder, stuff like that. And he meets this woman, and they go out on a date, and she falls in love with him, and he, I guess, falls in love with her. And all of a sudden, one day we hear Gilbert's getting married.
Well, that proves that love is blind.
No, not that love is blind. I mean, I think that she felt she had gotten a real catch, and I think everybody kind of agreed that there was something under the surface of Gilbert that had to be tapped, that she somehow found. And they had a very successful marriage. They had 2 children. They were married for 17 years before he died. Very successful marriage. And it would have gone on, till he was 90, because it was just, she so loved this guy and adored him. You could just see it in her eyes whenever she was near him. And then they had the children, and that was wonderful because he had a chance to become a father. And I'm told he was a terrific father, a very loving father, and the kids adored him. And that's really who I mourn for now, more than Gilbert. Yeah. Gilbert's gone.
I know. I lost my dad when I was 17. That was very, very tough.
Well, these kids
I felt ripped off.
These kids are a little younger than that. I think they're maybe, I don't know how old they are exactly, but I'd say maybe at least around 12, 13, something like that.
That's a very, very tough age.
And I'm sure they just absolutely adored the man, and it's got to be devastating to them. And it's devastating, I'm sure, to her as well, but only to a lesser extent, in that I think this has been going on for quite a while. The situation was something that they knew was inevitable, okay? And so in a way, she could get herself prepared for it. But
You never prepared for
but
that.
you never prepared for it. But although I saw a situation the other day, I went to a what do you call it? Shicks.
Shiva?
Shiva. Shicks. Yeah. There was some shicks.
Shicks is what we lust after.
There were shicks.
Shivas is what we do when they're dead.
Yeah. I went to a Shiva, and in that case, the guy had been dying for like several years now. And they knew this ultimately would be the ending. Okay. And so when he finally died, I think his wife has been so relieved because the years of him suffering and her having to deal with it.
Oh, it's very difficult on
Great sigh of
survivors.
relief. But in this case, I think Dara had a little more concept of it, but I'm sure she is an absolute at an absolute loss because the way she so dearly loved this man, was what was so impressive to me, and so impressive to me about both of them. And I miss him already, and I haven't seen him in maybe 2 or 3 years because those parties we stopped having. He didn't go to 1 year, and then the next year we had COVID, and then we had that for about 2 years. So there wasn't another chance for him to go to one of these parties that we would go to every year. But I still miss him because he was always, in some ways, he was always a presence in my life. It wasn't. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But when I heard yesterday that he had died, I went, wow. And then we called some people we knew who knew them very well and said, where can we get a hold of Dara? Because we wanted an address on her so we could write her. And they said, I didn't know Gilbert died. A lot of people didn't know he had this. Okay. Yeah. My friend Mark Garland did, but he didn't think it was getting bad. And he hadn't heard about it. I was the first one to tell him that, he had died.
Somebody told me, and I wrote you just to tell you and to give you my condolences. I don't know if I was the bearer of bad
I
news.
wonder if I should get condolences. People do that when you have somebody that was.
He was your friend. You could see that. I didn't know how close you guys were until I saw that interview and I saw the communications between the two of you and. How comfortable you were with one another.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I just it really hit me pretty hard because the guy was too young to die. He was 67.
He's my age.
Now, what was interesting is that for the many, many years now, the one thing between us that we had in common.
Mm-hmm.
Was when when he would suddenly burst out, I'd be walking down the street, okay?
Yeah.
He'd be walking down the other side of the street. He would spot me, and at the top of his lungs yell out, well, I'll let you hear what he used to yell out.
Yeah. Alex Bennett is still alive?
He loved to say that. He just, I don't know where it came from. I think it was about the 10th time or so that he did my show in San Francisco or whatever. And then all of a sudden he started saying,
Alex Bennett is still alive?
And I lovingly loved it when he did that. I just so loved it when he did that. It had its...
When the time is right, you got to use that as a promo on your show.
Yeah. But it was... And I just found that, by the way, yesterday as I was going through. It's on the show.
Well, you asked him to do it while you were interviewing him.
No, where that comes from is an interview I did at Sirius XM.
I know,
I didn't ask him to do it. I didn't ask him to do it.
I think while I was watching it, you said, "Hey, would you mind?"
Oh, that's on the TV thing, but on the audio thing.
I hadn't heard the audio.
In fact, he does it at the top of the interview and at the end of the interview. But I always loved it. There was something about, and oddly enough, when we do these parties every year, when I'd show up, he didn't yell that. He didn't yell that. But anyway, I think anybody who knew Gilbert absolutely loved this guy. I don't think anybody had anything bad to say about him.
I had never met him. You must have started with him after the Camel days.
It happened. It happened. Well, it was at what do you call it? Live 105. It's when we first started hanging out together. But anyway, I just love the guy, and I was so sorry when I heard the news yesterday, and then automatically my thoughts went to Dara and the kids, and the fact that they must be inconsolable right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to to be a Debbie Downer here on having you go through this. I figured maybe you wanted to talk about it and get.
Yeah, well, I do like talking about it. I mean, I like talking about it from the standpoint that I really like the guy, and when I heard the news yesterday, I just was amazed at how terribly sad I was that it happened. So
yeah,
what have you. So,
well, let's see. In the last 5 minutes, they caught the subway shooter.
No, they already caught him. They caught him earlier
I know
today.
they caught the subway shooter in the last 5 minutes of our time together here.
Mm-hmm.
Frank James. Now, isn't Frank James?
Wait a minute, let me finish my story. Artist? Wait a minute. Can we finish one story before? Going
yeah. Okay. I thought you were.
No. What I do want to say, and it's this was a wonderful guy, and I will never, I guess, hear him ever again say, where is it?
Alex Bennett is still alive?
But years ago, I heard, I can't remember who said it, when George Gershwin died, somebody, and I can't remember who the performer was that said it. Might have been Oscar Levant, but I don't know if that's
he was a Gershwin guy.
Buddy.
Yeah.
And whoever said it said, today George Gershwin died, but I don't have to believe it. You know? And a couple of days ago, or within the last couple of days, Gilbert Godfrey died, and I don't have to believe it. And so far as I'm concerned, forever.
Yeah.
Gilbert will be still alive.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing about what you've done by preserving these interviews is you keep them out there. Of course, like he's had a lot of work. Now, was he in the Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he like he got a bunch of tickets? He was trying.
But Beverly Hills Cop 2. Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's the first time I saw any of his work.
Yeah.
And he was very good.
Oh, he was terrific. He was great.
Yeah, very funny guy.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out. I guess I don't have any volume on this to speak of, so let me give myself some more volume.
Well, you were coming through fine on my end.
No, this is on the on going out.
Oh, on the YouTube,
on the recording, of it. Well, I've got to take care of it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I see. They what happened was, they changed my encoder on me. They put out a new one, so I bought into it, and then I suddenly noticed that one of my components, which is a volume increaser, is not here. So, yeah. So.
Well, now, are you ready for Frank James?
What do you mean? Okay, give me your Frank James.
Well, well, first of all, wasn't there a some sort of entertainer named Frank James?
No, Frank James was Jesse James's brother.
Okay. Well, this guy didn't look like Jesse James, the guy they turned himself in at a McDonald's. And it's amazing the hate that he spewed on YouTube. But YouTube, they take off Donald Trump from YouTube, but they leave a guy on like this.
But they don't know. You know, you can't follow everybody. Come on. You know.
Well, they've got algorithms.
What do you expect? You
Hey,
know?
on Facebook, I posted a picture of some like Clorox for the end-all, be-all cure for COVID, and they restricted me for 30 days. You know, and it was obviously a joke and a parody, but you know, their algorithm picked that up. And talking about these other social medias, what's his name? Elon Musk buys several $1 billion worth of Twitter. Then, so that's like 9%. And I think he's going to try to buy the whole thing, or at least get controlling interests and change the way Twitter does business.
Well, you see, that's how you don't keep up with the news.
Well, they wanted to put him on the board, and he refused.
No, he got out of that whole deal because he didn't want to be part of it. So.
Yeah, but he bought. He still owns 9-point-something% of Twitter, and they wanted to put certain restrictions on him, if that would limit him to 14% purchase, and that he couldn't give anybody. He couldn't tell anybody the algorithms that Twitter uses, and. I guess he didn't want those restrictions, so he decided not to go on the board. Now, did something happen between then and now?
From what I read, he got out of the whole deal.
He sold his stock?
I think so. I think he decided not to do it, not to buy the stock or something.
Well, it went up 30% after he bought it.
Well, I don't know, but all I know is that the deal was off.
Huh. Okay, well, that one I didn't see. But I knew that.
But what, you got a hard on for him having anything to do with Twitter?
No, I think it's great. I think that maybe he's a real patriot.
He's a real patriot? How do you figure that?
Yeah, and he's going to open up the lines of communication. That Twitter is really a town square, and you know.
Well, I mean, you could
say
it's a town square. Excuse me, I was here trying to fix something while we're on the air.
Yeah. You know, kind of like a soapbox was during the Revolutionary War times.
Well, you know, I don't think so. Okay, and I don't think it has a responsibility to be one.
Well, it might change with Elon Musk's ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they said that for $13 billion he could own the whole thing. And he's got, what, 260 billion? So 13 billion is kind of a drop in the bucket to this guy.
I don't think he wants to own it. I mean, come on. Do you want to own Twitter? If you had the money, would you buy Twitter?
Maybe he's got FU money.
No, but why would you buy Twitter? What does Twitter have to offer you?
You can't buy Facebook. Facebook is got too high of a valuation. But Twitter, which is widely used, is within his reach.
Well, the problem is that Twitter is somewhat one-dimensional. You know, where Facebook has many different aspects.
Well, did you hear one of his suggestions was to put an edit button on Twitter so that you could edit your posts?
So if you thought better about it?
Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad idea. I mean, that's the reason why I'm very careful about what I put up on Twitter. I mean, you can eliminate your whole post.
Yeah.
So the question would be, why do you need an edit button? You know.
Well, yeah, that's I didn't know that. I stopped using Twitter after Trump was thrown off of it.
Well, people were doing that, you know, when they would suddenly, all of a sudden, they would write something and everybody would start complaining. They would take it down. Okay.
Although there's always seems to be screenshots of the original post.
Well, because some people see it, they make a screenshot, and then they keep posting it and posting it and posting it, even though you've taken it down.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the problem. Can you stick around?
Sure.
Yeah, because, you know, these people like having you here, you know, mainly because it's always nice to have somebody around who's a pain in the ass. So. makes me look good.
Well, you got Alan.
Yeah. You know, the one thing I just want to say, and it was kind of interesting, is that you said to me, well, you know, my condolences, you know, about Gilbert. And I've always found that I don't know. It's always bothered me when people offer me their condolences for somebody who died that I wasn't either married to or the son of or, whatever. And I don't know if we don't use that term a little too often.
Well, let me ask you this. Were you affected by his loss?
Well, I was bothered by his loss.
Well,
part of it is my own mortality comes into question.
We all do that. That's why we used to read the obituaries in the paper when they had newspapers. One of my favorite sections was the obituary because I was always looking to see if my name was there, and if it wasn't, it was a good day.
Well, that's what who was it? Carl Reiner used to say that. I read the obituaries every morning. If I'm not there, I have my breakfast. So I mean,
But
Musk owns 9% of Twitter.
Right.
Still.
Yeah.
Still
And
okay.
They offered him a place on the board, and he turned it down.
We all do that. That's why we used to read the obituaries.
Oh,
in the
here
paper.
we go.
Look at your browser,
Jeff.
and on the browser you can click the X on the Gabnet thing.
He's fixed it already.
He's
Okay.
fixed it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
No echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, no, but I just always, I often wondered about that because people have done that before when I've had somebody I knew who died.
Well, it seemed as though you were close to him, and although I didn't know that at the time I gave you condolences, but I did know that you knew him and that you had gotten together with him socially, and I thought it might have been a loss, and hit you closer to home. And a friend or family, why not give condolences?
And I'll tell you, I mean, today I went for a walk today. I walked a mile and I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I haven't been out that much in the last 2 years, but in the last 3 or 4, at least 5 or 6 months, because it's been cold and rainy, and I haven't had a reason to go out and take a walk. And now when I take a walk, I'm struggling, and I'm beginning to wonder if death is not is near.
Same thing for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because of the winter? Do you think?
Yeah.
Or just because we're becoming altacacas?
I've got some other issues that
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what they are, but
Yeah.
anyway, but I took a nice walk and it was good.
Well, I took
and all that.
I took a fairly decent walk with Marjorie today, and it was about 1.33 miles. And I'll try another one tomorrow and see if I can do it without passing out.
Yeah.
But I was also lightheaded and so on. Then I realized I haven't taken my blood pressure pill for the last couple of days, so that probably had
boy.
something to do with it. Because
You check your blood pressure?
No.
You should get one of
Take
those
mine
blood
every
pressure
day.
cuffs.
You test yours every day? Why do you check yours every day, Charlie?
Because I'm taking medicine for high blood pressure. I want to make sure it stays down.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened was it maybe went up a little bit, and I was lightheaded, and I didn't think. I know I have one of those
Yeah.
too.
I have one of those too.
Every day?
Yeah. I got the
That's
same
today.
one as Jeff.
Really?
Omron or Omron or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've got to just start taking my pills every day. I've been forgetting to take my pills, is what it is.
Baby steps, Alex. When you haven't walked a lot, you got to go. You can't go 3 miles the first day.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and if your blood pressure is high, and you bend over, or you do something, you tie your shoelace or something, all
Right.
of a sudden you'll get lightheaded.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I get
Yeah.
lightheaded just getting up out of bed.
I
Especially
actually
on
did
Wednesday
a
when
test.
you got to look at Phil.
Yeah. Welcome, folks. This is the show all young people watch.
Oy vey.
So I did 3 tests. I laid down,
Mm-hmm.
checked my pressure and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I sat up,
Mhm.
like the way we're sitting now.
Mm-hmm.
I checked it again,
Mm-hmm.
and then I stood up
And tested again.
and tested a 3rd time.
Okay. And which one was higher?
And you know what? They were both about the same,
Really?
which was good.
Yeah.
When it says you're dead, then you're in trouble.
You won't be able to take the cuff off.
But anyway, so so I mean, and then I had this other friend die, a friend of the family's, and we went to Shiva on Sunday, and he died on, I think it was Friday, and I think that was probably when Gilbert died. And so having all this death around me, really just,
I'm with Phil. I give my condolences to you, Alex.
Yeah, well, he was a guy I liked, and
he was a friend, not just somebody you liked. He was a friend.
Yeah, well,
so condolences to you are appropriate.
I don't know how to define friend. I know that sounds difficult, and
just look on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have 500 of them. Whoa!
There you go.
5,000.
5,000. Excuse me. I forgot. That's how old I'm getting. No, but anyway. Oh, gee, I just got dizzy from doing that. What was it? What was it? What were we saying? What was it?
We're talking about you doubt who's a friend and.
Oh well, when I hear that term friend, I don't use that term too often. I use the term acquaintance more often than I use friend because, and I think Gilbert was an acquaintance. It's not like I called him up twice a week and said, "Hi, how's it going? I saw you last night." No, it wasn't that kind of thing. So that's what I'm talking about. Shecky's probably the only friend I have in this whole world right now. I know that's sad that but I know Jeff. I've sat down with Jeff, and Jeff and I though are acquaintances. When you say Jeff, I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe verging on friend because I'd like to see you more often because I enjoy your company,
So, certainly, maybe.
Why don't you come down here more
Maybe
often? Then
we're
I
going
can
to get to see each other.
Then I can have another friend, And
there was a time when we were friends. I remember you and Susan saying, Phil's here more than
Alex.
I was with you guys a lot.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
But I mean, all I'm saying is that I think we tend to throw the word friend around too easily. And I think in recent years, I've only had about 3 good friends: Shecky, my friend Bruce, who died, my friend Steve, who died. So
I think there's 3 levels. There's acquaintances, there's friends, and then there's good friends. To me, the difference is good friends you go out and do things with once in a while. Like Phil and I go to dinner or we go shooting or something. That's a good friend. Friends can be all of us on the show. We're all friendly to you.
Well, if you like to go
acquaintances or somebody
can I interject there? I think that a friend is someone that you've built trust with. You got to have trust. And and also, as Alan says, you do stuff together, which builds a bond.
Right.
And, but friends come and go.
I mean, like my friend Steve, when he was alive. I mean, I would go over and see Steve. We'd get to see each other maybe 3-4 days a week. We were always there, always calling each other. If he had a problem, I listened to him. If I had a problem, he'd listen to me. When I came to New York, I stayed with them for 9 months, something like that, on their couch. That's how good a friend he was.
Well, you did that a lot. Didn't you stay with Phil when you were in San Francisco?
No, I stayed on his sofa.
Oh.
In Sausalito, there were the hillsides were coming down from massive floods, and where I lived was just below the Altamira Hotel, and they evacuated those buildings.
Right. So
I stayed in Alex's place for a week on his. And then they.
Can you imagine how horrible that is? I mean, I'm not talking about the landslides.
Yeah, well, and then the police would not let anybody in or out of Sausalito. And so we were stuck there, and we did your show from your dining room table.
On the telephone.
On the telephone, right.
Yeah.
I was your only guest again.
Well,
I always think that Phil is a good friend because he's the opposite of anybody.
I was saying to Marjorie the other day, because we got into this discussion about friends, Okay. And I said, I'm beginning to think that maybe these people who do the show with me every night are my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't live in the same town. We don't see each other, but we talk to each other, 3 days a week.
Probably more than most friendships.
Yeah. So I just wonder if, if that isn't a sign of friendship.
That's what technology has done for people. Look at all.
No, what it's done for people is make them lazy friends.
I know, but look at all. I've reconnected with a tremendous amount of people from that I knew in the past. Friends that maybe I hadn't talked to in 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden you look them up on Facebook, and boom, you're back in touch.
Yeah, but that it's too easy. In the old days, in order to be a friend to somebody, you had to get in your car and go over to their house.
Yeah.
And maybe you'd call them on the telephone.
Yeah.
But, are you Zooming them? No.
It's just another way of doing it. It's, okay, you didn't have to dial the telephone, but, with the Zoom, you got to figure it out.
I consider Phil a good friend because we do things together.
Yeah,
we
but
have a lot of
okay,
interests.
I agree with you.
Right.
But you see each other.
That's right.
You buy highly expensive steaks together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steakums.
Well, when Alan comes over, we only do happy hour.
It's your choice, not mine. I don't care.
But,
happy hour menu.
That's because you only feel comfortable in the bar with the cocktail waitress gives you extra attention.
Yeah.
and that's
Nothing
the
wrong
only...
with bars. Hey.
I ate there tonight.
Where? Ruth's Chris?
Yeah.
I got his picture in the lobby, I think.
No, that's Ruth's Chris
no,
picture, but I look a lot like her.
They have it at the front door saying, "Do not admit this man."
Yeah. I tip good.
Yeah.
I'm still COVID tipping,
Yeah.
Is the steak there that good?
I don't
It's
know.
better than other places.
It's all prime beef.
Yeah.
Well, we have a place
It-
here in New
it's-
York that's supposed to be pretty phenomenal called Peter Luger's.
Oh yeah,
my brother ate
yeah.
that. That's good.
This is probably not as good as that,
Yeah.
but it's damn good and it's consistent. You know why McDonald's is so successful? Everywhere you go in the world, the burger tastes the same.
Yeah.
Well, I go to Ruth's Chris, whether it's in Honolulu, Maui, or San Francisco. Well, the San Francisco closed, but Walnut Creek. And Ruth's Chris is consistent. What you get there is it's better than the McDonald's of steaks. It's a really good steak, but it's consistent and it's consistently good.
And the service is good.
Service is good. Yeah. So and the prices aren't so bad. I mean, in today's world, a nice New York steak, which was like 20 ounces, I think it was $61. And I had that, and I had the spicy shrimp, and I took home a bread pudding for dessert. So,
Well, we the other day on the 4 o'clock show, we started talking about steaks and the best place to buy steaks. To get steaks in your area. And here in New York, we were talking about San Francisco, the House of Prime Rib.
House Prime Rib's great. It's been around for 1 million years.
And somebody told me,
If you don't mind the
one of our San Francisco callers said to me, it's terrific. It's still terrific after all these years. Usually a place like that, after a while, you go in one day, you say, boy, House of Prime Rib, let's go there. And then you go there and you're eating shoe leather. You know
what closed after 97 years?
The
Alioto's.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
Angela Alioto was a good friend of mine.
Yeah, well, who was the mayor, Alioto?
Yes.
Yes.
He was
Her
assassinated.
No, that was
no,
Moscone.
No, that was
That was
Moscone.
Moscone and-
Yeah, her
and,
father. But I used to say, how? So, what relation are you to those Aliotos? And she says, oh, that's my cousin, I think, or something. Maybe her
yeah.
brother. I don't know.
It wasn't her dad?
It was her father, I believe.
Was it her father?
Yeah, I think so.
And then when he became mayor, he had to give up his
children.
his power over it or whatever. Anyway,
He was
I
a supervisor in San Francisco.
and I told the
That's
story
what
the
he
other
got
day.
it.
I told the story the other day
What's that?
that she, I was had her on the air one day, and I said, by the way, Angela, because I loved Angela. She was terrific. She was the best. And I said, Angela, I got to tell you, the other day I was down there in Fisherman's Wharf for one reason or another, and I have never gone into Alioto's. I always went over to Fisherman's Grotto number 9. That was the place I always
Pretty
went
good.
to. And I said, I decided to go over to Alioto's. And she says, well, I says, terrible. I said, just horrible.
Tourist stuff.
Yeah, tourist stuff. I said, I've been going at number 9 for years. It's not a form of defecating. It's number 9 is the name of the
Fisherman's Grotto.
Fisherman's Grotto number 9. I said I go in there, I get a certain level of crab, and I like it. I went here. The crab looked like it was anemic.
You know what they had at Fisherman's number 9 was the crab Louis. It's a Louis salad.
Yeah. I used to like ordering the crab Louis.
Yeah.
Or as I used to call it, the crab Louis.
Yeah, it's nothing's the same anymore.
And people here who are on the East Coast and in Texas, another person there, and another guy here in New York, don't know from good crab, because the best crab,
lobster.
we do get it out here, but it doesn't travel well. And the best crab, I think, anywhere is Dungeness crab.
Dungeness, right.
And it is it's
well, I like in Florida what is it?
Stone crab?
Stone crab, the legs.
I hate stone crab, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't believe in cruelty to animals. If you're going to eat them, kill them. Okay, but in the case of the stone crab, here's what they do, folks. They cut off. They catch them, and they cut off one leg. They break it off. One leg, and they throw them back in the ocean.
It grows back.
Grow another leg, yeah.
Yeah. It grows back, but it takes time. In the meantime, this poor crab is down there on the bottom, going around in circles because he doesn't have one claw, right? Yeah. And I always thought it was really cruel because he's a crab, and all of a sudden he gets caught, and he goes, "Oh my God! Well, that's the end of my life."
He says, "I'm still alive."
But wait a minute! What are they doing? They're breaking off my claw. Ouch! That hurts. Oh, what are they doing now? They're throwing me back in the water. I'm free again. There we go. There's a picture of it.
Spam salad looks good.
Oh, that's stone crab. That was a big bucket of stone crab in Key Largo. I went into this restaurant. And this was they have different sizes. This was the largest size. And they had a big bucket.
Do you want to know why I can't eat stone crab?
No, why?
Okay, let me explain it to you. I bite my fingers.
Oh. Well, they're very sharp. This was my meal.
You're not going to listen to me. Let me finish.
All right, that was my meal.
Oh, good. Fine. Show us your meal.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I hate people who go on Facebook and take pictures of the food they just had.
I hate that too.
Anyway, I have a tendency to bite my fingernails, so they're never completely in good shape, okay? They're kind of raw.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I've been doing it all my life. Well, stone crab, I know something about stone crab. They have a certain acidic quality or something that whenever I would eat them, the juice from the stone crab would get into my hands, and it started to sting, and my hands would be on fire after I got through eating stone crabs. So I had to quit eating stone crabs.
Bring some latex gloves.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you do like gloves?
Somebody did that when Phil and I went out.
Yeah.
Jeff is...
Yes, Jeff.
Sorry.
Yeah. Alex, so I know that you go to Spain a lot.
Well, I don't go to Spain a lot. I used to go to Spain.
Well, used to, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you ever go to the Seville, the restaurant in the village?
Seville? No, I haven't.
That's all Spanish food?
Is it?
Oh, excellent.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, it's very hard to go anywhere and order paella after having it in Spain.
Yeah, I know. I had a lobster paella. I was down off that Los Rambles.
Yeah,
and
the Rambles.
Romulus, and I walked down an alley, and there was a restaurant, and it had just a chicken in the outdoor kind of
In a
on a
grill,
rotisserie.
yeah.
I walked in. It turns out this restaurant is from 1765, and I ordered a lobster paella for two, and we sat down and had this thing. It was orgasmic. I've never had anything so wonderful in my life.
I used to go to a place in Ibiza, out on a beach, where they had this shack, and they served up paella, and it was the most incredible paella I've ever had in my life.
It's fresh.
It's
not
fresh.
frozen.
Everything's fresh. I mean,
Right.
but I mean, it was just incredible. And paella in Spain is just, it's orgasmic. Okay?
Yeah.
I've gotten paella here. Right? Somebody says, you want great paella, go to Joe's Paella or whatever. So I go. And it's not. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with the kind of paella I'm used to. You know, so there's nothing like paella in Spain. To tell you the damn truth.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway. So Kevin, how you doing? You're a little quiet tonight.
All right.
Don't look so happy.
He's trying to order Uber paella.
Yeah. Try to get some clams and lobsters.
Well, down where you are, is there a good restaurant for steak or paella or anything like that?
No.
Okay, I'll finish with that one.
Got a total of about 12 restaurants in this town, and they're all used up.
I mean, they're
Yeah, well, in your town, it's more of a biker town than it is,
Nah, not really. It's more of a nothing town.
you know, bars and stuff like that.
well, at least when
But
it,
in Monterey, you've got some great stuff, right?
What's that?
Mel?
Monterey, yeah.
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 That's not that far.
yeah, I've
Not
been
far.
some very good places down there. Yeah,
Yeah, Monterey's
I
good.
remember one place. It was right up on a hill, kind of up on a hill, looking down over the ocean. And I had,
Was that hotel with the
Well, it's called the Tickle Pink Inn now. It used to be Highlands Inn.
Islands Inn? Yeah.
Helen's Inn and Carmel.
Tickle Pink Inn now.
Really? I didn't know they changed the name.
Have you ever stayed at the Highlands Inn? Really?
No, I've seen it, and and some of the rooms I've seen them advertised, like
Stayed
with the
there for a
odd-shaped
meeting a long
beds.
time ago.
but anyway,
Spectacular.
yeah.
Now Clint Eastwood had a place called the
Tarpies.
yeah, it was like a pork barbecue down.
Yeah, it was Tarpies down off 68.
No, this was in Carmel.
Carmel.
Oh, yeah, he had another one down
68
there, too.
A
Yeah.
pig and something. Pig and
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Something like that.
Yeah.
What the hell is it? It's still there, too.
yeah,
he's-
it's not as good as it used to be.
He's still
No.
living in Carmel, isn't he?
I think so.
He's still existing. He's like
He's
body
90.
and bones.
Yeah,
Yeah. How many more movies do you think he can make?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I saw him a couple years down there at Giz Ditch Ranch, the Pie Ranch.
I think
I
he's,
was-
isn't he just about the oldest director in America?
Yeah.
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 Well, he still gets around.
What's
Yeah.
a good steak, Tony?
I'm not a steak eater. My brother likes steak. I like, I'll eat hamburger, but I never was a steak eater. Neither my mother didn't like it either.
He's a Campbell soup guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll do the Campbell's tomato soup. That I do like, yeah. Even though I should make them, I gotta learn how to make tomato
Well,
soup.
I often wondered, about like the great chefs of the world. Where do they go? What do they?
That
So,
is a good point. Do you think they go into these places or no?
what, Jeff?
Jeff said.
Go for steak to Buenos Aires.
Yeah, I heard that South America there's and
That's right. Fantastic.
Can't get a bad
the
steak in
cattle
Buenos
area.
Aires, can
That's
you?
right.
Wow. Yes, Charlie.
Clint Eastwood is 91 years old.
I just looked it up too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, gee, in another 9 years,
Born
I'll
in
be.
1930. Jesus.
And he said, I think he's still directing. Didn't he just do a film recently?
Yeah, what? Well, yeah.
Yeah, a year or two ago.
Yeah. So
Get off my lawn 6.
Gran Torino. That was a good movie.
Yeah, I like
It was. Yeah.
I liked where he had the rifle and was pointing at those guys that were on his lawn.
Oh yeah. They have those clips on YouTube, and you can watch different scenes from different movies. and that the one where the next door neighbor, the young girl, was kind of being accosted by some kids in front of a store, and he gets out. He goes like this, and they think he's nuts. And then he pulls out his 45 and he says, "Get in the truck." It was that was a good scene.
Yeah, well, what Gran Torino?
He called them spooks.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's a derogatory term, but maybe in the movie
Wait a minute.
But it's
Spooks is not a derogatory term?
I said it is a derogatory term.
I see. Yeah.
And now there's something that I'm watching. I think it's on Netflix. The Outsiders or the Outlaws. It's with Walken, Christopher Walken.
He's got to be close to 92.
Yeah, maybe.
No, he's not, but he looks it.
Yeah, have you seen that one? I think it's called the Outlaws. I probably got through 2 seasons. So
I got to tell you, something. It's just Netflix is just. I'm getting so tired of goddamn Netflix. Everything they do is just mediocre. You know. I mean, Marjorie loves it because she starts binge watching just like Irish soap operas. I don't know what they are.
This is from England. He's in England and he's in a work furlough program because he got out of prison and so he's there with a bunch of other people. They find some money and they get involved in a bunch of stuff.
Well, I don't know. I just get very tired of.
It's worth watching.
You know what I get tired of is Netflix laying claim to having things be a Netflix original.
Yeah.
What they did is they bought it from the BBC and then they call it a Netflix original.
Mm-hmm.
When it isn't. Peaky Blinders, they say Netflix original. I'm sorry, it was on Channel 4 in England. Okay, they didn't come up with it. But Marjorie loves her. I'd love to get rid of it. I wouldn't have it right now if it weren't for Marjorie. She has got to have her Netflix. So basically, so she can binge watch something and avoid me. So.
Let me see if I can find the name of it. I watch 2-3 episodes and then I go away for a while.
Well, I'm sure it's called The Outlaws. I think I saw that name up there.
Yeah, maybe that's the Outlaws series, and it's with Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
and
the documentary though that they're running on, I don't know if you've seen it. The one on the British horror show, the Jimmy Seville story. Has anybody seen this thing?
No.
This is about a guy. See, you don't know who Jimmy Seville is because we're Americans. We don't watch British television, most of us. Jimmy Seville had been around for about 40 years on British television, and he had been one of the most beloved performers on television. I can't tell you why, because he was one of the strangest looking human beings you'll ever see. And he went out and he helped hospitals raise money and so on, and he used to have a show called Jim'll Fix It. All right? And what he would do is bring little kids on, and the little kids would have it was like Make-A-Wish, okay? And then he would make their dreams come true, all right? So he became just loved by British people. And also he was the host of Top of the Pops, which was the biggest rock program in England. And this went on for about 40 years. And he was royalty. Princess Di would come on his shows and loved him. And Prince Andrew wanted to hang around him. Prince Charles wanted
Prince Andrew hung around everybody, including
I know. But Prince Charles, everybody wanted to be around. And then finally they actually made him a knight. They knighted him. And he became Sir Jimmy Seville. Well, they find out that all the years that he had been doing that, he'd been using it as a cover to be a pedophile. And it is estimated that over the 30 or 40-year period that he was on television, he had buggered about 400 different individuals, both boys and girls.
Kids.
And
he was bisexual.
And some of them some of them in his BBC dressing room.
Uh-huh.
And he got away with this for like 30, 40 years.
Did he claim to be a priest or something?
No, he was a TV personality.
I got it.
But so you got to watch this. It's really an amazing documentary. There is that a picture of him? Where?
Yeah, you can't see.
Like Kevin.
It looks like Kevin with a big old white beard and everything.
Yeah.
He's in the background there. You can't see him too well.
Oh, he's not the guy in the front.
That isn't you in the front.
Yeah, but that Clint's in the back there.
Oh, Clint Eastwood. Oh, you're not showing a picture of Jimmy Seville.
I'm talking about Jimmy Seville.
We're talking about Jimmy Seville, and all along you've been looking for your picture with Clint Eastwood.
I had to find him. It was 6 years ago. There he is, walking by my truck.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you can't. You won't focus. There it is.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
Like a stop sign.
He still looked old then.
Yeah.
That was 6 years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, so this documentary on Jimmy Seville you probably should watch. And then today we watched the first episode of the series that's been produced and narrated by Barack Obama on the national parks of the world, not of just here, but of the world. And it is really quite brilliant and quite good, and he is just so charming as a narrator, you know.
I want to watch that.
Yes, yes, Alan.
Did anybody pick up Tucker Carlson on Friday night or Saturday morning announced that, you know, the war in Ukraine, that most of it is fake? The people that were dead did this right on the news.
I was spreading that fake
dead
news.
in the streets were actors. After they filmed that, they panned away and they got up and walked away.
I made up a narrative. I said that the Ukrainian war was actually fake news propagated by North Korea. And, so maybe it stuck. but I was kidding.
I think he was serious.
I don't, I just don't know how a guy like Tucker Carlson can do this. What I find abominable is how a company like Fox can allow him to do it. I mean, even they've got to be sitting there saying, this guy is out of it, you know?
If he would have said that, then you would have seen it somewhere else. I didn't see it.
I'll bet you can
Oh,
find
it's been all over YouTube. What do you mean?
Yeah, really. Come on, Phil. Wake up.
Well, that's because I'm
You're
watching
not
the
going to find it on
Outlaws.
Dredge.
On Dredge, you mean Drudge, not Dredge.
Yeah, that's
Dredge is
watching
better.
the Outlaws.
Dredge is better. You dredge is sewer.
Tucker Carlson.
Well, let's all sit around and wait while Phil.
Yeah.
This could take 20 minutes as quick
Yeah.
as it is.
Fake news.
Let's talk about our friend from New York who decided to turn himself in.
Oh, Frankie.
And it didn't happen during the first
Well,
half
he didn't
hour,
turn
Phil.
himself in. They found him.
No, he turned.
No, he turned
himself
himself in.
Yeah.
And he called the police.
Called him up, said, I'm at McDonald's. Come on down.
Oh,
Yep.
really? I didn't realize that. That's
That
from
happened
what,
hours ago, not while you were on Alex's show, the first part of it, Phil.
No, I know. I heard it earlier today.
Right.
See, what I had read is that they had gotten a call from McDonald's
That's what I heard too. Like a
saying
guy saw
that they think they had the guy in there. By the time they got down there, he had just left. So they then followed him and went down the street, and they saw him, and they cornered him and stopped him and arrested him.
Okay, because I had heard that he called and said, I'm at the McDonald's and I'm turning
No,
my.
I
Started
think somebody
walking down the street, and then another store owner called and said he's down here. He got 2 calls,
After he called the police, he probably got tired of waiting for him.
pretty much.
Yeah.
He was hopefully that they were going to give him some money for turning himself in.
Trying to
I
collect.
guess
The reward.
somebody said that he lost his credit card.
Says here, Carlson is denied saying the quote in a tweet. And Walsh told, I don't know who Walsh is, told USA Today it's made up.
It's all over the internet, Phil.
Yeah,
It's
well,
online.
just because if it's on the internet, it must be true, Alan.
No, Phil. If somehow they've got the footage of him doing it, then I think it's immutable.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know that they have the footage because
They do.
he's claiming that it's fake.
I saw
All right,
it.
they got Trump doing a bunch of stuff, and they still said he didn't do
You know
it.
what's amazing to me is Putin saying around everywhere, what atrocities? We haven't done those.
This is USA Today fact check.
He's doing
Our
Trump
rating on that story is false. Based on our research, we rate false the claim that Carlson suggested photos of bodies in Bucha could have been staged by Ukrainians. That's USA Today, the kind of newspaper they put at your hotel door.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
used to get them.
Oh, I'm supposed to
American.
wait a minute. I'm supposed to believe USA Today that their entire audience for their newspaper are people who don't want to see their newspaper in black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
What, you mean they got a little color?
They got color, yeah.
Well, they got the blue.
Do you notice when he tells a lie, he turns orange, just like Trump?
Oh no,
The
it's
color's changing, Phil.
you know, yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's the mood, Phil.
Yeah.
Right.
I got the same light as you, Alex, except I haven't adjusted it yet.
Well,
The Golo or whatever it is.
the what?
What's the kind of light
El
you
Gato.
have? Yeah, El Gato.
Yeah, yeah.
The cat.
Well, I have two of them. I have two, but they're both different kinds of. One's bigger than the other.
But only when Phil tells the story. You don't have to have a drink. Just wait for him to turn orange.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So anyway, I mean, I just, I just
believe that Fox News allows this guy to stay on.
Well, you see what
He
I
didn't
no,
do it.
But he's done a lot of other crap, and he's
it
had a
doesn't
lot of
matter. He didn't
misinformation.
do this one.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
The point is that Fox is not a terribly responsible news organization if they allow these people to just say anything they want to say, and they're still there the next day.
It's you left wings that are saying.
Worse. Okay, let's say he didn't say that. He's said a lot of other crap that's wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. This one he didn't say.
All right, but we're not talking about that now, Phil. We're talking about the fact that his conduct over the last many years has been egregious, and Fox does nothing to say, hey, look, check your sources first and prove
Is
to
that
us.
the guy? That's the guy that had you on his show on Fridays?
Well, every Friday.
Okay.
I think one way to change his mind is Fox News ought to send him to Ukraine and let him, broadcast from Ukraine. That'll change his.
Hey, did you see Boris Johnson walking down
Wait
the
a minute,
street?
let me finish.
with
Hold on a second.
Zelensky?
Before we do that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's something I wanted to ask Charlie Wallace, and now I forgot what I wanted to ask Charlie Wallace.
Okay.
Or did you have your hand raised or something?
No.
No? Okay. Yes, Phil, you want to talk about Boris Johnson? Yeah. And Biden, I've suggested Biden, while he was there, he was in the territory, he was in the neighborhood. He could have just jumped across the border. He could have spit across the border from where he was. He should have gone into,
Kamala Harris was there. She should have gone in. She's not worth much, so
but I was surprised that it was Boris Johnson.
I was too. And that just upped his worth, with the British people. And if Biden had done that, he would have helped himself. He would have helped the Democratic Party in the elections, things like that,
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Charlie, I noticed something, Charlie. You take assessing of various statistics for the day and so on. And you talk here about the total deaths so far being, where was it? What are the totals?
987,331.
So when do you figure we're going to hit 1 million?
Well, probably by May 1st because numbers been going up lately.
Now, there's 330 million people in this country, and 80 million, Charlie says, have come down with COVID.
Yep.
So if COVID now is responsible for a natural immunity, regardless of how long it lasts, that's quite a number of people when you add that.
No,
plus
you got to
those
remember
with the
that
vaccine.
1 million of those people almost are dead.
Yeah.
1 million total.
And by the way, we don't have a real good idea of how many people have gotten it lately. Because what happened is we started sending out all these test yourself at home things.
Yeah.
test at home,
So people do the home test. They
which is
find out.
crappy.
Yeah.
But what happens, if crappy or not, if they test positive, where does that wind up? Where does that information wind up?
You
It
know,
doesn't go
yeah,
anywhere. It stays at
you know,
home.
Jeff, it's crappy except for when Omicron was going nuts and you had to wait weeks to get a test. It's at least better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
I agree with you on that, but
You know why there was a million deaths? Because during COVID, if you got hit by a car, but you also tested
Oh,
positive for
stop
COVID,
it, Phil.
then
They did
that was a
not do
COVID
that.
death.
I'm
And
not.
the hospitals were paid a lot.
No,
of
they
money
weren't.
for
That
every
has been
COVID death.
debunked 1,000 times.
That's bullshit.
Oh, but Tucker Carlson saying that the thing is false. That's not bullshit.
Phil,
So
why
you
are you
don't believe-
wait, hold on a second. Why are you changing the topic to Tucker Carlson when we're
Because
saying
you
wait a minute,
don't
when we're
believe-
saying you're wrong?
No, well, I'm saying you're wrong.
But I'm listen. I didn't make those claims.
Wait a second. He's going to turn orange again.
Yeah,
You got to move to where the light gets it.
yeah. Do you have two? Do you have? Do you have? Do you have two? Do you have two lights there?
Yeah, but only one Elgato and the other one's an LED, 900 bulb LED photo light.
No. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking of getting another one just like this one over here. It's only about $129 and putting
I
this.
like the Elgatos. They're really nice.
The only thing I don't like about them is they work off your Wi-Fi, and
yeah, they do,
sometimes they
but
turn off. Well,
I got this, but I haven't hooked it up yet. This is also Elgato. It's
yeah, but
called the
that's
Stream
I
Deck.
use one of these here. That's what I use, but I don't use that one. That's too small, Phil.
Well, I only wanted to control the lights
Oh, well, you could have done that just with the.
with my phone.
No, there's an app that you have that runs along the top of your screen, and you can
Yeah.
click down on that, and you can turn them on and off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have to teach him something every day.
Every time.
I got to tell you something. Kevin and I and Patrick usually get together on Saturday nights along with Josh Wheeler, and we just talk, right, Kevin? It's no tail out of school here. The other night I wasn't feeling well at all, and I don't know why. I just was feeling sickly, and so when I got them all on, I was on for about 45 minutes, and then when they were all on, I decided I was going to beg out because I didn't have the strength to do it. And I come back about 1:15 in the morning, and they're still talking. How I hear that you guys went 3 hours that night, or went till 2 o'clock in the morning, our time.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I don't know what
You
time
got-
we got done.
Yeah, I mean, I could have never made that,
Well, we've done that on Jack's from the intersection. We stay on after he logs off, and then we talk for sometimes 2.5 hours.
Will the Zoom still keep? Well, you're doing Skype.
We're on YouTube.
You're on
No,
YouTube.
we're on Skype. We're on
Yeah,
Skype.
you're on Skype, right. And the
just
Skype,
keep
and
talking.
once he signs out from the Skype, it's still working?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Maybe I'll have to join
Yeah, I
that
remember
sometime.
having conversations with Renee when the show was over and
Yeah.
we were on Skype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We talk after you signed off.
You know what I've been thinking about doing is challenging Phil, challenging Jack to a trivia contest.
You're the host.
In which he would throw a question at me, and I would throw a question at
But
him, and then
he
he'd throw a
has
question at me.
different trivia than you. You know.
Yeah.
It was different.
Oh,
answers.
he has different answers, exactly.
Oh, that's me.
Because I sit here sometimes and I'm going,
You can moderate, Phil.
Yeah, thanks.
but I'm saying
Have
to
a
myself,
drink.
I'm saying to myself, he's wrong about that, and so I
At
just
least he's saying something.
yeah. But I mean, I was thinking, maybe I should challenge him to a trivia contest, a good old-fashioned trivia contest, like the ones I used to have with Roger Ebert in Chicago. Yes,
Alan.
Alan. Well, it's nice if
You're muted, Alan.
That's nice if you're a silent movie.
You're muted.
That
Yeah, you're on.
Do you believe in the Snoop's way of finding out if something's real or not?
You mean
No.
Snopes?
Snopes, whatever it's
No,
called.
it's a left-wing plant.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that, but they said Tucker Carlson did say that. I was watching Fox News when he said it.
They had video. I don't know. Maybe they faked the video.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
So,
maybe
wait,
they faked the video.
wait
They
a
got nothing
minute.
better to
Wait a
do.
minute. So Snopes says it's real.
Yes.
I'll believe Snopes over.
But USA Today says it's fake.
I believe Snopes over USA.
So would I.
Snopes is a left-wing plant.
No,
you
it's
know?
not.
Bullshit.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
It's all lefties.
Are you
No,
kidding
Yeah,
me?
they got an agenda. No.
No,
You ask
they
Tucker.
Everybody have a drink.
Yeah.
Ask Tucker. Hey, you know what would be nice is, can you get him to come on this show? Call him up, say, hey, you know, why don't you
I'm
come
still
on?
alive. Come on over.
Yeah.
I would have to miss that show.
No, I think it would be a great show. You know, they had a rapport. Why not? He did his radio
Well,
show.
he was. I'll tell you. Let's face it. Tucker's kind of a whore. Well, I'm really encouraging him to come on this show. He's kind of a whore, you know, and he got let go by MSNBC.
Oh,
Okay.
that's tough.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. He got let go by MSNBC because I think they were going to go in a certain direction. And he didn't fit that direction because he was, yes, to a right-winger at the time that I was on his show. However, he was not out there, okay? He basically was a right-winger with a certain amount of sensibility. But they fired him, they let him go so that they could put in more lefty people because they wanted to be the counter to Fox. So he wallowed around for a while, didn't have a job, and then he went over to Fox and they gave him like a weekend or something. One thing led to another and he got the spot he's in now. Well, he's decided he's going for broke on this one, you know.
You know why he got that spot? Because everybody else got fired for womenizing on their shows or you know.
Who?
What's his
Bill
name?
O'Reilly for
Bill
one.
O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly, yeah.
And there were some others.
No, that was it.
Nah, there was more than Bill
No,
O'Reilly.
they got rid of the head of Fox.
Yeah. Oh, Ailes, Bill O'Reilly. Hey, you cut off the head of the snake, the rest die, right? But
nobody else got let go.
Yeah, but Ailes and Bill O'Reilly were pretty big. But with Bill O'Reilly gone, that left a big void, and other people kind of moved up the ladder and got spots.
What do you mean? There was only one spot to get, and that was O'Reilly's.
No, because
and that's the one, by the way, I think that Tucker Carlson got initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got O'Reilly's spot.
Okay.
When O'Reilly was let go.
All right. That's what happened.
But that's it.
Well, that's good enough.
You're acting
warm and fuzzy.
No.
When the sons of Murdoch were running it, there was a change. There was even a change in the way the women looked. And you know who they got rid of? Is that Laura Logan? Logan?
Laura Logan? Laura
Yeah,
Logan?
she's
She got
way
fired.
out of left field now.
Yeah, she got fired.
Wasn't she over at CBS at one point?
She was at CBS.
Yeah, CBS fired her.
And then she went to Fox.
Yeah.
And she, I guess, said some things, and Fox management wasn't happy with it. And she's out.
Looney Tunes.
Well, I liked her, and she had nice tits.
Well, she was pretty, and that's all.
Oh,
yeah.
look, I got to tell you, the only good thing about OAN are the women.
Yeah, they're young. They're all college age.
They're all young. Most of their anchors are all young and largely breasted. Is that a nice way of putting it rather than saying big uns or big tits?
Big uns.
Because I don't want to be accused of anything here and have it held against me and ruin what career I have left.
Well,
That's right.
even when you were popular, you didn't have many women. You were 18 to 35 male was your top demographic in San Francisco. And
I heard he had you out on Polk Street, bringing them in.
Oh yeah. When I helped, it was Fisherman's Wharf. But the thing was, you didn't have a big female demographic, It was 18 to 35
I'm
male.
trying to remember. My male. I had a large male audience. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a 6. You had a 6 share when we were at Camel, and that was a big celebration.
I like the way he says we were at
Well, the
Camel.
biggest share that I ever got in San Francisco, I
Sleeping
think,
on
was
his
at
couch doesn't
KMEL.
count.
Was
KMEL
what?
was at KMEL. That was the largest.
Yeah,
I
right.
had ever
You had
gotten
a-
in my whole time there.
I think you had a 6.06 share
Yeah.
in the book.
But I managed to maintain like a 5 or something like that throughout.
Yeah,
the
which
years.
was fantastic.
Well, maybe the number 2 show to KGO in the morning,
Right.
and they were doing
And
news.
then we find out that KGO's numbers were all cooked.
Yep.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they used to prevent me from getting guests on
Isn't
my show.
KGO where they have their little repeater?
Well, that's
tower
why I went to.
outside
That's why I went to the
bridge?
That's why I went to comedians.
Yeah.
Was because I couldn't get any other guests because they had to do. Their rule was you have to do KGO before you do anybody else.
Right.
So and I was on in the morning, and they didn't do a guest until after 10 o'clock in the morning. So consequently, there was no way they could
get
if
anybody.
they wanted to do my show, they'd have to stay overnight in San Francisco and then do my show the next morning after doing KGO. So that prevented me from having a lot of big name movie guests. So I started going to the comedians.
Yeah, was it Mal Sharp's idea that this comedy thing is a big deal?
No,
Wasn't Mal Sharp?
no, it just happened by evolution. You know, one day somebody said, I want you to have a guest on. I think it was.
Was it Slayton?
No, I think it was Dr. Gonzo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think
Yeah,
it
was he your
it was
first
like
guest?
my first comedy guest, and then he suggested Bobby Slayton.
Right.
He said, I have this guy who was a big fan of yours in New York, Bobby Slayton, and then so I started having Bobby Slayton on the show. Then I said, do you know anybody? He says, Jeremy Kramer. Then Kevin Pollak, and blah, 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 and one after another, till finally I had all these comedians on the show, and that's how the comedian thing started. It was
Kevin was dating the sales girl at Camel, right?
Was he really? I don't
Yeah, what
remember.
was her name?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't remember. But yeah, he was dating the girl who was doing
Yeah.
local sales.
Yeah, but it was good, you know.
And Schwartz, what was his name? Schwartz was doing the big sales. I forgot his first name. I visited him once down in L.A.
Nobody here cares about any of that, Phil.
Yeah, really.
You're getting,
Well, it was the Camel.
you're getting to
Phil
sound
in the
like one of
dark.
those ads for "Don't be like your parents." You know, like when they say blah blah blah, and he says nobody cares about
No,
that.
Alex,
You
the
know?
time I remember, I don't remember the radio station, but I remember all the billboards on the sides of buses and everything with your picture plastered on it.
Yeah.
Alex Bennett, all over San Francisco.
I don't play no requests.
Well, that was the first. That was the first advertising thing I came up with. The next one is nobody likes Alex Bennett.
Right.
One of the biggest signs I saw was out by the Bay Bridge. One of those big signs.
Have you ever told people why you didn't take requests?
Because I didn't want to play music.
Well, no, it's not only that, but the music was programmed.
Well,
we used to pick the music from these color charts.
Let me just quickly say this, and then I got to go. But radio stations would say, "Okay, it's request time. Send in, call in your requests." No station ever took requests. What happened
No, they just
was
eventually played it.
they would just play a song, and you would think your request had been honored. No,
Yep.
they had a playlist. That was it.
And this going out to Joe in Campbell.
Yeah. Right. And
It was like that though, Kevin, wasn't it?
and then there
Yep.
and there
This
was
is for little Tony Magno.
and there was no Joe. Tony's been very quiet tonight, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Time
Thank you.
to send you some more coffee.
Yeah.
I can have my coffee tonight.
Send them some Black Rifle.
Hey, Phil, thank you for sticking around tonight.
Oh, it's my
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Kevin, thank you for being here. Alan, you too. Charlie Wallace, always good to see you here, Mr. Digital. And what is there anything to those digits at all?
Yes, that's binary for geek.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jeff, and thanks to Tony. Everybody, give yourself a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye to you. Okay, there they go, folks. They're starting to hang up on me, so I better hang up on them before they get to me. Yeah, right. Hey, listen, Jack Bishop is next over most of the same GabNet. He'll be here with The Intersection, and he'll be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night, right back here, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, folks.